What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here. We just watched episodes 7 and 8 of Sakamoto Days. We'll be talking full spoilers ahead, so hopefully you've watched these episodes, and we'll do a real quick recap. Basically, Lou is kidnapped because she's mistaken for Shin because she was wearing his apron by some dudes in hazmat suits, taking her to a lab where we find out Shin is from. Shin and Sakamoto end up pursuing, because he has a GPS on all of the people's employee tags, pursuing them on the freeway, where they get into a big freeway battle on motorcycles with the hazmat people. We end up finding out that they have a dude working for them named Seba, who is able to turn invisible. He's able to thwart their attempts at trying to save Lou, and they get set back as they head to the lab. And yeah, they end up catching up to them at the lab where Shin is from, and they try to get in. They end up fighting like some mechanical bears and a T-Rex in this huge fight. They end up getting in the lab, and yeah, we find out Lou is downstairs in a cell with like one of the lead dudes of the lab, who actually had a connection with Shin, and is the reason why Shin is clairvoyant. He drank when he was a kid something he wasn't supposed to drink, and it allowed him to hear people's thoughts, and it freaked everybody at the lab out so much that well, what else did they say when they got into that disagreement? Do you remember?
Disagreement.
Yeah, Shin and the lab guy. It doesn't matter. Shin ends up leaving because he's like, weird, and people don't want to be around him. And yeah, so where else? Oh, Sakamoto and Shin end up getting in a fight with some scientist dude. We also find out that the lab is under control by assassins and trying to basically augment themselves to be better at killing people. Great motivation there. They fight a dude who is very into injecting people with stuff. He injects Shin with something that basically reverses his speech, reverses basically whatever he wants, and then he also injects Sakamoto with something that whoever he's planning on hitting, he hits the opposite, but then he can like turn that on and off and reverse it, so kind of throws things for a loop. They end up beating him. You guys watched the episode, so you know what happened there. And let's see, two people from the Order end up showing up at the lab. We find out they don't get along with the assassins that have taken over the lab, because we have a deer-headed dude who is serving. I forgot what the dude's name was. Oh, Slur. And he's basically there to do whatever Slur wants. He ends up getting into or he ends up running into the two people from the Order, and we find out they don't like each other, because the two people from the Order end up killing Slur's like henchmen that seemed pretty confident in killing these people. And then we find out this reindeer dude, I forgot his name, basically is like Frankenstein, and has like knives in his left arm, a gun in his right arm, gun in his right arm, gun in his mouth. He's got all these stitches that when he pulls them out, reveals his weapons. Sakamoto ends up running into them as they're getting ready to fight, and ends up fighting with the Stitch dude, while the two people from the Order run off and leave him behind. The girl from the Order has like a crush / fascination with Sakamoto, looking like a teddy bear to her.
Cute like a teddy bear.
Yeah. Also, Lou ends up escaping the cell downstairs. There's a lot of things going on in this episode. And with the lead scientist dude, and Shin is fighting with Seba in a separate room. And Seba is using his invisibility to basically get the better of Shin. Shin is able to at least block his attacks, because his clairvoyance is helping him, but it's not necessarily enough. And then Shin gets stabbed by Seba. He's about to best him, but earlier in the episode, we found out that Heisuke, is that his name? The sniper guy with Pisuke, I know the bird's name, ended up sending Pisuke out to find Sakamoto and Shin, and that's how he has now tracked them and ends up sniping and shooting Seba, seemingly taking out his invisibility. I don't know if it was like a a fatal shot or anything.
I think he shot him both shoulders.
Yeah, but it seems like his invisibility's been neutralized, and the dude is just happy to help. And I think that's where we leave off. Did I miss anything major?
I don't think so.
All right, what'd you think?
I actually think this is probably, well, good thing we watched them back to back because they were pretty much connected.
Yeah, that happened last time we did this too.
Yeah.
Maybe we should start watching these back to back.
I actually had a lot of fun with both these episodes. Probably my favorite two so far, to be honest. I like that we got some pretty decent backstory on Shin, and then also a lot of different assassins basically in one area. So we got to see a bunch of different types of people and the way they fight and whatnot.
Yeah, this is the first episode that feels like we've actually taken a step into lore, and not just meeting a new character. We did meet new characters, but we got a little bit of insight on the Order, this other set of assassins that aren't allied with them, and then getting some background on Shin, which I didn't expect, honestly, but I'm glad we are getting it, because from episode 1, we've been jokingly saying that the show has no rules and they just do whatever, and it still is kind of true, but now we got some rules on why Shin is the way he is, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, and then I don't know, the both episodes were a good blend of basically everything. We had some storytelling, we had some comedy, we had some action. The action I thought was clever. The motorcycle scene, for example, was very reminiscent of like Final Fantasy VII, where you're racing down the highway. I'm not going to get too into it in case you haven't played the game, but it was very kind of familiar, especially with the really extreme motorcycle movements, with like Sakamoto taking the back tire randomly and putting it in someone's face.
Yeah, pulling a crazy maneuver up ahead of him, flipping in the air and hitting him.
Yeah, yeah. And the only other time I've really seen that was in Final Fantasy VII. So, the scientist assassin guy and his neuroelectric control thing he was putting in people's neck was fun and a fun and neat approach to a fight. And about the time I was getting kind of sick of it, they finished it off. So
yeah, it's fair. I will say it felt a little long to me, but I do agree that, by the time I started thinking that, they did find a resolution. And maybe that's me just being spoiled to how quickly things get resolved in this show. But it was nice to see somebody actually do anything to Sakamoto. So
yeah, well, and the solution to winning was clever, because we got kind of like a taste of that when Shin was fighting in the mascot suit episode or two ago, and they kind of used a similar strategy here, where because Sakamoto's neuro thing was basically his instinct to either attack a foe or not hit a friend, and so to elude that, he basically just Shin stood in front of him, so he just punched and told Shin where he was going to be punching, and so it didn't matter because he was swinging at both of them. The enemy's there, so
yeah, he pulled off a Dragon Ball Z and just was decking nonstop.
Yeah,
and he was just dodging it, which was it was a fun solution. I was trying to figure out how are they going to get out of this one, and they had a fun way to figure it out. So
yeah, and it actually made sense, which was nice. Yeah, the deer guy, I was not really expecting. We've seen him in the intro and stuff like that, and I wasn't really expecting him to be like a as they worded it, a person made out of weapons, who very much obviously just has skin stitched over all their weapons and stuff like that.
I will be curious to know, unless there's no reason, why he has a deer head. Because his character without the deer head, there's nothing about him that screams to me, I need to wear a deer head.
Yeah.
Since he's this
he's just Hotline Miamiing it up.
This zombie servant that he is. I don't understand the deer head, but we might find out. I don't know.
Yeah, and then the invisible guy, it's invisibility, right? It's not that crazy of a concept.
I have a feeling he's going to be the next friendly assassin.
I mean, possibly. But I think it's funny how that whole thing was going on, and we kind of went through with the Shin, basically like only be able to tell like right before the strike, and it wasn't enough for him to fight. And then he saw the shadow of the bird, and he's like, "Oh, I'll just let him stab me, so I can smear blood on him."
As a target, yeah.
Yeah, again, another like, okay, well, time to cleverly, solve this fight. Though taking a hit for it is bold move, I'd say.
True.
But yeah, I mean, overall, I had fun with it. I'm looking forward to how it resolves, because we in 2 episodes still didn't resolve it. There's still Lou running around somewhere in the bottom, and I'm sure there'll be some cleanup, and then obviously the fight with the reindeer dude has to finish. So
Lou's like such a C character so far. It's really interesting. Like in the second episode, she was like, the main point of the episode. She's been around, but like, Shin is there to basically assist Sakamoto, but like Lou's like doesn't really have much going on in the show. It's kind of weird. Like even when it comes to like action, she's like less effective than Shin is. So it's like, is she just there for like a comedic element of being the drunk, aggressive person?
well, she's just a daughter of from a mafia family versus
Sure.
like the other two are assassins. So
Yeah, they chose to put her in the show, so I'm trying to figure out like, is there gonna be more to her than her just being the drunk, aggressive person? We'll end up finding out, because she's always on these adventures, but
right.
all she's doing is kicking dudes in heads and being angry. But I guess we'll find out. Also, my speculation on Seba is basically he comes off not aligned ideologically. He's like, he's got his ability to turn invisible, but he also said like he's not doing any, like he's doing this just because they're paying him, basically. So that kind of like, everyone else has been like full on with like everything that they're doing. They believe in the cause. That reindeer guy is all about that slur dude. That scientist dude was motivated by the science, learning by experimentation, stuff like that. And the Seba dude's just like, oh, I don't really need to be here, but I'm doing it for basically as a job. So I won't be surprised if they end up becoming friendly with him, the same as they have with, I guess, kind of the sniper dude, even though he's just kind of hanging out looking for pork buns. So, and giving acorns and candy to Sakamoto's daughter while she's not being watched by any parent. So, yeah, these are two fun episodes. Like we already kind of covered, I'm liking that we're getting into some lore, because I think that's the biggest thing this show is kind of lacking, is like any kind of depth, and it doesn't need to be super deep, but I need something to think about possibly than just like Sakamoto always defeating everyone who comes after him, which is fine. I liked One Punch Man, so I'm okay with just the show that's meant to be fun or funny or whatever. And the show has had those moments, but this episode or 2 episodes gives us a little bit more to think about in terms of like Shin's origins, his whole past, getting to see some dynamics between the Order and other groups of assassins, knowing now, like from what we just saw, that there are different groups of assassins, all with their own motivations, which is kind of cool to know. And then getting introduced to like new characters, expanding the world even further. I liked Sakamoto's interaction with the Order, because it kind of shows the past that Sakamoto had still has like relevance. And we get that every time a new assassin comes after him, but they didn't fight each other. They just kind of acknowledged each other, and then they went on their thing and left Sakamoto fight Frankenstein. I'm curious to know more about Slur and. Is that the serial killer?
I think so.
That's what I'm assuming, yeah. Which would explain why his henchman's like a weird monster thing. I don't know. I'd like to know more about him too. I also want to know more about the reindeer head. And yeah, we got some comedic elements in these 2 episodes, but these episodes also just felt a little more serious, I guess, in a lot of ways. Even though there definitely was comedy, the show can't not have comedy. But yeah, I kind of like that. I'm really curious to see where things go from here. And what did the Order say about Slur? They're just looking for him? Did they give any other details?
They've been looking for him
Yeah,
since
yeah.
since we got introduced to him. So
Yeah, but since they're at this lab, I didn't know if there was like anything specific. But yeah, I guess they are just looking for him. So that'll
yeah,
be
and the dude works for him, and they kind of ignore. They're like, "Hey, we need you to give us information on this guy or whatever." So
yeah. And yeah, the scientist fight was cool. I just I did feel like it went a little long, but it was creative. It was cool. And like I said, I'm happy to see somebody do something to Sakamoto, even with that Seba dude. Basically about to get his ass kicked by Sakamoto, at least stabbed his gas tank to just stop his vehicle because he knows he's not gonna. He's in a weird position anyway. He just had to stop him, so he did. So, anything else from these episodes? I think that's about it. I liked them. I'm really curious to see where it goes in the next episode. You got anything else? All right, let us know in the comments what you guys think about episodes 7 and 8 of Sakamoto Days. What were some of the biggest highlights for you? Maybe some things you didn't like that happened in these episodes. Maybe some information or lore that happened in these episodes that we didn't touch on that you'd like to talk about. And where do you think things are going moving forward? Unless you do know because you read the manga or whatever, please don't tell us. We watch these blind. It's more fun that way. You understand. Thank you for understanding. Yeah, stay tuned. We will be catching up on Solo Leveling. We'll be watching 2 episodes, doing a 2-episode review like this one tomorrow. So if you're watching Solo Leveling, stay tuned for that, and we'll talk about it then. And yeah, I think that's everything. I've been Seth. This has been Chevy. And until the next episode, we will talk to you guys later.